I am absolutely floored right now. Baseball fans, Mets fans, everyone chiming in live at a replay. How we doing? We were just live an hour ago breaking down the Mets series sweep of a loss there against the Tampa Bay Rays. And speaking of the American League East, oh my God, did you guys just see what happened? Are you kidding me? The Boston Red Sox have officially began, I won't want to call it a fire sale because they have some great young talent there with Roman Anthony, Marcelo Meyer, and of course Kristen Campbell. And we knew all the turmoil going on with Raffy Devers back to spring training where he wouldn't move out of third base or he wouldn't play first or he didn't want to do DH, all this nonsense from him to Breslow to Cora, and now finally Raffy Devers out of nowhere is sent to San Francisco. And I'm sorry, I know that this is a Mets channel, guys, but we need to talk about this because this directly impacts everyone in the National League competing for a championship, including our New York Mets. This is without a doubt one of the biggest shocking blockbusters that we have seen in recent memory across Major League Baseball. I'm trying to think of the last time that we saw a trade come out of the blue this early in the season for this significant of a player, because Raffy Devers is on a monster contract, and now you mean to tell me that this Devers is a part of the San Francisco Giants organization? Hit that like and subscribe button as you guys chime in, folks. Thank you so much for being here because we got to talk about this. Holy Francisco Lindor, literally, that's it. Oh my God, yes, literally, that's how. But here's the thing, when the Lindor trade happened for us Mets fans, that was back in the offseason, right? This just happened on June 15th, 2025. Devers was just talking with the media, and now he's out of here. And guys, we know how good Raffy Devers is. Even with all the antics that came with him to begin the season with him and the Red Sox not in line on mentality, doesn't change the fact that he's one of the best bats in all the game. Raffy Devers, guys. Raffy Devers, who has been one of the best pure bats that we have seen out of the American League for the past 5+ years. A World Series champion. Not known for the glove. We know that, obviously, but the fact that he has now found himself with a San Francisco Giants team in which on the San Francisco Giants, Devers is not going to be given third base opportunities. They already locked down long-term a third baseman in Matt Chapman who will handle things there. So it's going to be DH first base type area for Raffy Devers, just like he was doing in Boston after Alex Bregman and now all the other young studs and the infielders we just discussed in Boston have pretty much kicked Devers out, and his personality, his attitude made it so much easier for them to dump that contract, and that is why this is such a lopsided trade. I understand there's a lot of money here, and I understand that Devers was currently performing at a rate that was $40 million less than what he should be otherwise making. However, landing a premier bat in the way the Giants just did, when they are very much in the thick of things in the playoff run right now, when they are very much in the thick of things when it comes to being one of the better teams out of the National League, this changes a lot. I want to hear all of your initial reactions live here in the chat as well as in the comments down below. Everybody for chiming in live and a replay, whether you're a Mets fan, a follower of the platform here as we cover the Mets daily, whether you're a baseball fan, a Red Sox fan, a Giants fan, whoever you're a fan of, please let us know your thoughts and discourse in the chat in the comments down below. Folks, in case you guys don't know, I have an MLB-wide channel called WardyNYM, and we're actually going to be dropping a video likely on this topic and its impact furthermore on the side of not only the Boston Red Sox point of view, but the Giants point of view especially. So be on the lookout for that video tomorrow on the WardyNYM YouTube channel. We have just over 2,000 subscribers, just 11 videos into our YouTube tenure there. Really fun topics, a lot of fun content. Make sure to check it out. But guys, I want to know how you're feeling. Initially broken from Robert Murray, and you want to talk about making a three from deep. Bang! Robert Murray, the same Robert Murray that a lot of fans did not think had any sources, when this is the same Robert Murray, when mind you, he certainly does. He does have sources, and he has been on the money with plenty in recent years and off seasons. And I appreciate you, Barry. Thank you so much. Happy Father's Day to all my fathers out there. Thank you guys so much for chiming in. All you amazing baseball dads, especially, we're happy to have you in here. But the news, guys, as you see again, the San Francisco Giants, per Jeff Passan, but originally from Robert Murray at Fansided, are acquiring Raffy Devers from the Boston Red Sox. Sources confirm ESPN. Jordan Hicks, who has not been good, Stretched as a starter, goes the other way. So does Kyle Harrison, who is good, has upside, a lot more upside than Kyle Harrison. 4 years in control. He's only 24 years of age. A lot of pitching upside that I know the Red Sox will be happy with. And Mr. James Tibbs, who was the Giants' number 5 prospect in their organization. He was drafted last year there, outfield prospect for the San Francisco Giants. And that other prospect was a pitching prospect, a 20-year-old prospect who has a 2 ERA right now and A-ball. So that was the entirety of the deal for Raffy Devers. And let me just enlighten each and every one of you real quick in case you guys don't know how good Rafael Devers is as a player, guys. I mean, this is jaw-dropping to see something like this still happen at this point in the season. I can't fathom it. It is so hard for me to comprehend that this actually just happened, everybody. But as you guys can take a look here, let me pull this up and then we'll continue on from here. Again, I was not planning on doing a live show, and I have a video that I'm set to drop for you guys tomorrow, but I was not expecting to a live show, but this is an exception. This is insane. And like when baseball news this big happens, we need to talk about it, especially when it has potential to impact our Mets, and it most certainly does. And as we now take a look here, everybody, here's some Devers highlights for you guys to watch as I break down just how amazing of a player Rafael Devers is. Raffy Devers, this season alone, everybody, does he have an attitude? Yes, he does. That went in direct hand as to why. Devers was only traded because of his attitude, as a matter of fact. In large part because of his attitude is why he was traded, and how things quickly soured when, mind you, he's only 28 years of age here for the Boston Red Sox, but in 72 games this season, he has 14 home runs, 46 runs scored, 57 RBIs, 1 stolen bag, a 271 average, an absurd 400 on base percentage, and a 494 slug, good for 45% above league average as a batter. He's on pace right now. He's 10% above than what he was last year on his offense. When, mind you, he started the season, what was like 0 for 20 or something? He was horrendous when he first started the year because he was so upset, and it goes in part because his defense is cooked and they have Alex Bregman now, so they're not going to put him at the hot corner. He didn't like it, and naturally we're seeing that. Oh my, I can't get over this. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Wow. Yes, I can, but not until 20 minutes from now. I apologize, folks. I just had to message someone. All right, guys, getting back into this. Raffy Devers has a 1.9 WAR so far this season, 15.4 on the offense, and negative 7.8 there on the defense. Because again, he's been playing DH the literal entire time, everybody, and that offense is absurd. Again, you consistently get from Raffy Devers a guy who has a career 279 batting average, 349 on base percentage, 509 slug, and has 28 home runs last season, 83 RBIs, 33 home runs and 100 RBIs year prior, 27 home runs and 88 RBIs year prior before that. 2021, 38 home runs, 113 RBIs. Right when he first broke out on the scene and made his early debut with the Red Sox, his first true season, he won the whole thing. In his age 21 season, had 21 home runs, and his 2019 season had 32 home runs, an absurd 115 RBIs, 129 runs scored. But bearing in mind that went in direct hand because Devers was also dealing with the juice baseballs, so the runs scored being at a career high that early in his career, I'm not shocked to see that. All right, guys, wow, this is just nuts. I can't get over how nuts this is, everybody. This immediate impact is insane. Because we all know the San Francisco Giants are a good ball club. They're a very good ball club this year, but they have performed above expectations to an extent. I think you can make the rightful argument. And when we take a look at the current standings here in baseball, everybody, it is as follows. You got the New York Mets comfortably in the 1 spot right now, the National League East, even though they just got swept, so not as comfortable as they would like it to be. You got the Chicago Cubs there as a division leader out of the Central, and then you have the Dodgers there out of the West. And the Giants right now are 11 games above 500 and just made a splash for Raffy Devers. Raffy Devers is pretty much on average right around a 4 WAR player. So Devers alone just added 4 wins to what you could expect potentially with the Giants. I mean, I should say that more like 2 wins because we're, getting basically like almost halfway through the season already, which is insane to say. But, we're really not far off when you're doing the math now. And when you look at Devers' 72 game sample size array this season, 1.9 WAR, that has him well on pace, to have a 4+ WAR season this season. This is a bat added into a San Francisco Giants lineup that just became so much more lethal than what it already was. And I know Yankees fans are happy. They finally had their father get out of the division. I know you got to be happy about that. That's a fact. Every Yankee fan is rejoicing because literally Raffy Devers is the biggest New York Yankee murderer on the planet. Yoshima, great member, 52 months, states the following. Trade season is here. Devers is a Giant. I know, I can't get over it. He homered today. Did Devers actually homer today? Did he? That's actually insane. Oh my God. That makes this all the crazier. And guys, I'm going to be live actually in the Bleacher Report app, just so you guys know, around 7:50. So in about 15-20 minutes from now, I'll be live in the BR app, further reacting and breaking down this trade. So make sure to check me out there, guys, in Bleacher Report. I do MLB topics for them every single week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, there in the app around 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. Eastern, usually in that range. This is insane, but this really makes you say, as a Mets fan, more needs to be had here, right? Like, we know that the Mets, you can make the rightful argument, are still a better team than the San Francisco Giants right now. But for them to add Rafael Devers into this lineup when they've already had a lot of key production going this season is crazy. And you have to wonder now, how much more is Devers going to keep this lineup balanced? Because heading into the season, I really have had my reservations. And I think we're expecting a drop off with San Francisco. And you want to know what I think? I think Buster Posey hummed them low, and he said to himself, we need to go out there and make a splash before the major slump happens. We need to go pounce the snippet in the butt beforehand versus what we've done years prior. And Buster Posey, who is not only an amazing player, also now leading the charger in the front office for the San Francisco Giants, he goes and does that. Craig Breslow gets the salary dump he's looking for a contract that he didn't really care to have anymore, nor did Alex Cora, obviously, as part of the Boston Red Sox organization, because that was under previous regime. That was not under Breslow. So as soon as that became a further reality, it felt like Devers' days were numbered. Even as good of a player as he is, it wasn't going to fit. And now, guys, when we take a look at this lineup here for the San Francisco Giants, let's just take a quick glance and see at how much different it's going to be now by having someone like Devers a part of it. Because as you guys can see, and let me zoom this up for you. This is all per Fangraphs, everybody, for you guys to check out should you have interest. This is the lineup currently, or just the overall batters that we see in the Giants, lineup configuration. Actually, I think I have a better lineup configuration to show you guys quick here. I thought I did, at least. Here we go. This was the Giants lineup to the left that you guys will see from this past day. And the Giants lineup this past day had Jung-Hoo Lee batting leadoff, Willy Adames in the 2-hole, Ramos at third, Dominic Smith batting fourth. That's where they knew they need Raffy Devers. It makes all the sense of the role now. Everything makes sense now, everybody, as to why this is the way that is. I completely understand. So not only are going to be adding Devers to the heart of this lineup to basically kick Dominic Smith the hell out of there. Poor Dom. Wilmer Flores has been raking so far this year at DH. We know that. Shout out Wilmer. Casey Schmidt there has been getting some reps to the hot corner. If it's not going to be, obviously, one healthy and one right, Mr. Pardon me. Why am I blanking so much? Mr. Chapman, Logan Porter, and Christian Koss. This adds so much. This just adds so much for them offensively. It's insane. Looking at this further, everybody, again, Matt Chapman, 12 home runs this season. He has a 33 WRC plus, which means he's 33% above league average as a batter. That's a 243 average, a 360 on base, and a 452 slug. Hyun-Joo Lee, 6 home runs, 6 stolen bags on the year, 266 average, 329 on base, but a surprisingly good 430 slug for 14% above league average. I say surprisingly only because Jung-Hoo Lee was deemed by many outside of the MLB as the KBO version, basically, of Tony Gwynn, known for the great slap hitting mentality, but not so much the power. I remember doing my breakdowns on him when he was a free agent a couple years ago. Heliot Ramos, 11 home runs for Ramos, a 291 average, 362 on base, 472 slug. He's been fantastic for them, the 25-year-old slugger, 35% above league average as a batter. Patrick Bailey's been cheeks offensively. Mike Yastrzemski's been just above league average. Yastrzemski I feel like he's been on the Giants way longer than he should have been, but he's still here. Willy Adames, 8 home runs, 202 average, 286 on base, 342 slug. Not surprising. Willie on that north of $200 million contract is not performing too consistently, where, bats go to die a lot of the times when they go to San Francisco. So again, I didn't love that deal at all when it was first made, even with them getting a surefire guaranteed thing in that infield. That being the Giants, I don't think Adames is good enough offensively or defensively to have warranted the guarantee in like the number of years on that contract personally, but that's just my own opinion there. Tyler Fitzgerald's in that mix. Got Casey Schmidt there, who again has been 11% above league average. But this is not a lineup that, is lighting the world on fire by any stretch if you're the San Francisco Giants. But now you add in what Raffy Devers immediately brings to you, and it changes the message a lot. It changes the entire outlook on not only the Giants, but in my opinion, it changes the outlook on the National League to a decent degree. And here's exactly why I feel that way, everybody, because by bringing in Raffy Devers and what is a monster, a blockbuster, but a lopsided blockbuster trade, don't get me wrong, the pieces could ultimately perform well for the Red Sox. And, I hope for their sake it obviously does, but Jordan Hicks right now is a 6.47 ERA. Kyle Harrison, even though he has 4 years of control, I'm sure will work well in that lab that they have there in Boston, even though they do have one in San Francisco as is, a 4.56 ERA with multiple years of control. He's only 24. When Raffy Devers is batting .272 with 15 bombs, 58 RBIs, and a .905 OPS, and he's still in the prime of his career, Raffy Devers has a lot to give you, right around 30 home runs and 80 to 100 RBIs every year, just like Francisco Lindor. That's an insane thing. And now you add in the fact that you're going to have Raffy Devers, along with all those key pieces in that line for the Giants, a rotation for the Giants that's obviously been nails this year, headlined by guys like Logan Webb, and to a degree, even the veterans there in the Southpaw, Mr. Tight Pants himself, and Robbie Ray, among many others. So they've had things cooking big time this year for the San Francisco Giants. That's why they've now led to the point that they're 11 games above 500. But now it's important and imperative for the Mets to make sure that they do not sit back should they find themselves at any point in the season either getting into a significant slump or anything along those lines. I'm not saying for David Stearns to go out and make a drastic trade right away. No, of course not. I'm not saying that they need to do anything drastically different now that Devers is a Giant. I'm just saying this blockbuster of a trade heading to the National League to a team that will be competing against the Mets, that ultimately is something that needs to be on our radar, because that cannot be understated. The significance of that changes the complexion on the outlook of the National League going forward this season. When you add a player that can single-handedly dictate ball games the way that a guy that Raffy Devers can certainly do on a night-by-night, day-by-day basis, it changes the mentality when you look at not only how good the Giants are now, and transparently heading into the season, I did not think San Fran would be anything more than, a fringe playoff team. Now, while they may still be a fringe playoff team by the season's end, there is greater certainty and reality that they may become something better than that because of them landing such a significant piece here and Raffy. We will obviously find out what is going to happen with him and how he adjusts in San Fran. The bat might be cold a bit. Obviously, handling the Bay Area is not an easy thing to do, but they just landed a bat that can hopefully pull baseballs better from the left side of the plate that they've really had anyone consistently do since, the biggest bopper of all, not all that long ago. So, just the thought of Devers hitting all those out there into the Bay and right is a pretty cool thing. But at the same time, as a Mets fan, I hate it because I loved him when he was in Fenway. It was really entertaining to see him hit off the monster all the way he did. And now he's added to a Giants line that's going to be lethal, because Devers is not just a Boston merchant. This is a guy that can perform just as good on the road as he can do at home. So there isn't necessarily this lopsided affair going on whatsoever either. And Juliet, thank you so much for the $5 holla. I appreciate that a lot. Let's get to what you had to say, Juliet. And Yoshima, great member, happy to have you in here. Hit that like and subscribe on as you guys first chime in live on a replay, guys. We're breaking down live in real time our further reactions to the news that Raffy Devers has been traded to the San Francisco Giants, and this has an impact now on the National League playoff outlook in its entirety. So we got to break it down, because this is certainly more significant news and bigger news to get into today versus the series sweep, a godforsaken series for our Mets against the Rays, as we broke down in a live show earlier today for you guys to check out should you have interest. But BG the Kid with the $5 holla states the following: AL is totally uncompetitive. What the F is this? They need to abolish the AL and NL. So here's the thing. And here's a take I have, and I know some baseball fans may not love it, but I have heard through the grapevine why this is happening. The MLB expanded to allow every team to basically play each other at least one series now, because they're trying to normalize them combining the American League and the National League eventually. And I do believe that is going to happen at some point. I don't think we're going to go the entirety of Major League Baseball's existence without that converting and conjoining rather into one thing. I do think that is a possibility of actually happening. But yes, it is lopsided. The American League is unbelievably weak, and it is frustrating when you see the victories for certain American League teams every year, cough, cough, at times like the Yankees among others, when you see the lack of competitive games that they have versus their opponents versus what the average team is like to face in the National League. Because with the exception of the Colorado Rockies and the Pittsburgh Pirates, because their offense is just horrendous, and the Marlins, even though the Marlins can be pesky, Every other team in the National League is solid. You know, even the Washington Nationals, who are not playing good baseball right now, are a much better team than what they're being made out to be right now. And whether they get hot as we get more into the second half or what it's going to be, they have a core built by that Juan Soto trade with the Padres a couple years ago that's going to lead them to success. Whether it's the promised land or not is a different discussion, but it will lead them to success. And that lopsidedness is definitely frustrating. AL keeps gifting best players in the sport to the NL, and Yanks have the glide to the World Series. I wouldn't say they have a complete glide to the World Series. I don't think any team has a true glide to the World Series, but I agree in the sense that what the Yankees' current competition like out of the American League is versus what it was back when it was like the peak prime days of the Astros, especially, it's a different conversation now, no doubt about it. And that's why it's going to be all the more interesting to really see what happens out of the American League this year, especially because of the fact that there is such a lopsidedness. Wow. I still can't get over the fact that this happened, everybody. So you have the LA Dodgers, the big bad LA Dodgers. And we know the Dodgers are going to continue to torment as they always do. They're going to go well on their way to another 100+ win season. No doubt in my mind. Then you got the San Francisco Giants. Then you got the San Diego Padres. What this changes to me is that in a year where, granted, at the time of us being live right now, the Atlanta Braves are 7 or 8 games below 500, games set for their first series against the Mets in Atlanta beginning this Tuesday. The Mets are 18 games above 500. The Philadelphia Phillies are a team that we know what to expect from them, and regardless on how the Mets fare this weekend against the Phillies, we know them at their best and at their worst. Like, we've been there, we've done that. We know what's going to happen there. The Giants are this big unknown now. They were the unknown entering the season as is, but they're a greater unknown now. And in the year where there's potential that the Mets could not only win the National League East, but clearly look like the best team out of the National League East. And that same year, while the Arizona Diamondbacks may have found themselves a little bit more boxed out now, the San Francisco Giants enter the fold. The Chicago Cubs take that next step versus what they didn't do a year ago in year one under Craig Counsell. Nothing is ever given, everybody. So in any situation where you think as a Mets fan that, okay, we're going to have things this way, expect the unexpected. So now it's imperative and it's important for the Mets to combat this. And how do you combat when a team adds a star player the way that the Boston Red Sox just shipped away Raffy to the San Francisco Giants, making the Giants a better team tomorrow than what they initially were today entering their matchup? What you do is you make sure that you don't get too low and you make sure that you don't get too high. That's the most important thing. That's what David Stearns has been trying to preach all season long for this Mets team. We know that obviously a lot can happen just a week's worth of baseball, and that's why he is cognizant and doesn't jump right away to make a move, but at the same time isn't opposed to making drastic moves when it comes to the bullpen. Things with the infield configuration times coming off the bench, or if it's obviously going to be prospects that he moves up internally in the organization, be very strategic in doing so. He has his own philosophy there. But now you need to make sure that if you're the Mets and you're finding yourself getting in a rut, God forbid, let's say you get in a rut that just is a losing streak that no one was hoping to see this year. You know, shades of last season, in the sense that you go from being an amazing, a great team the same year that you looked like a team that had no clue how to hit a baseball, right? Let's just say down bad. That happens for the Mets at some point this season. If that happens, what is the rest of the National League going to look like? The Mets, in my opinion, don't have any wiggle room whatsoever to allow like a week to 2 week gap of not playing at least solid baseball. And I say that in the sense of what the importance is, not only for the chance to win the NL East, but as well as where you could be a top dog out of the National League in general. And now I look at these Giants games, and I look at the importance of these Giants games, and it takes things up a notch even more. And you want to know what's so significant about this, everybody, and I'm actually really glad that we have this Giant game to talk about, because it's a perfect segue to get into real quick, everybody, what we are going to be doing at Citi Field. In case you guys don't know, we have our first ever official Wardy Day at Citi Field that you guys will be able to hang out with your guy Wardy. We only have a limited number of tickets left, and they're down below in the description of the live show for you guys to check out. But funny enough, it is against these same San Francisco Giants. We're going to be hanging out in the left field lounge, which is a fantastic booth setting there that you guys can sit and hang out with your guy Wardy. They're not typical seats are 10 times better. It's actual booth seats, and I can sit with whoever I want, whenever I want. Can run around all around in that section, right next to a fantastic bar area where we have an $18 drink voucher. August 1st, Mets versus Giants, the day after the MLB trade deadline. Myself and all you amazing Mets fans that come to attend the Wardy Day event there at Citi Field, where you hang out with your guy Wardy, you sit with your guy Wardy throughout the entire ball game. We're going to get pregame access on the Mets field itself for a group photo op. You're going to get a drink voucher, and we have seats right in front of the left field bar, which overlooks the entire ballpark. It's fantastic. It's gorgeous. I can't get over the seats, and I just cannot get over the fact that this is coming sooner rather than later. Just a couple months away, guys. So if you have interest in attending Wardy Day with all those fun perks and maybe even more, check out the link down below in the description. Wardy Day tickets that are still available, and thank you guys so much for doing exactly that. I can't wait to see so many amazing Mets fans at Citi Field this year, and as the graphic says, let's go ahead and make Wardy Day an absolute home run there, and hopefully it's a big one with the Tyrone Taylor robbing Raffy Devers of a dead center home run, and if I didn't say it already, there's also fireworks night that Friday as well. So we will be staying after the game to enjoy the fireworks, do our post-game coverage, and all that kind of fun stuff. It's gonna be so much fun. I can't wait. And you guys will have a chance to actually be a part of my post-game show, depending on how I get set up. I might be able to get set up right in that section, and we just go live right from there at the ballpark with all you guys in the background chopping it up and all that stuff. So that's gonna be a lot of fun. Be on the lookout for that, everybody. But getting back to this, Wardy does have to run here in just a moment or two, because I got to go live in the Bleacher Report app. So before I go live in the Bleacher Report app, everybody, this is what I like to leave you with. Raffy Devers landing with the San Francisco Giants. Biggest takeaway as a Mets fan is they got to play their game. They got to make sure that obviously they don't get too low this year. And if they do, be smart, be savvy, and be proactive about making a key splash like this. Because while Devers, from the personality issues to his demise in Boston, as well as his lack of fundamental play defensively, as a guy that I'm not surprised the Mets didn't go out of their way to try to land, he is still a blockbuster name, and this was a blockbuster trade, a lopsided blockbuster trade right now in the San Francisco Giants' favor, and they're going to reap the immediate benefits, which is exactly why the Mets need to continue to play their game. All the more reason to have bigger matchups. So when you play the Giants, including that Wardy Day series there, August 1st, later on this summer, everybody, and everything else up in between then, folks. But let's see what the boys do. Let's see what the Mets do. Let's see what David Stearns does as we inch closer to the trade deadline from the pitching staff, as we're going to talk more on that tomorrow, as well as the key contributors on the offensive end. Would the Mets consider adding anyone else there? I think that they would be at least of interest of one more bat leading up to the deadline. We're going to talk more about that and see what opportunities are best for them versus what aren't, everybody. But the biggest story of the day in baseball, in my opinion, far greater than my New York Mets getting swept, and your New York Mets likely getting swept by the Tampa Bay Rays in a horrendous fashion, 9-0 on this Father's Day. Instead, it's Raffy Devers heading to the Bay Area, blockbuster there to San Fran from Boston, folks. The Boston Red Sox now go with the youth movement, Roman Anthony, Marcelo Meyer, Christian Campbell, and they will probably make more moves. Could the Mets chomp on the bit for Jarren Duran? Does Jarren Duran become a greater likelihood to be traded? I think he does. Does Jarren Duran become a greater likelihood to become traded to the Mets? I think he does too, because of the fact that I expect the Red Sox to sell more here, even with them trying to be relatively competitive still this season. Let me know all your thoughts again in the comments down below on that, folks. We're going to expand on it more during the Mets Day tomorrow. Until then, have a great rest of your night, day, evening, whatever you're watching this. Check us out as well live in the Bleacher Report app in just a second if you caught this while it's live. This is your guy Wardy signing out. Let's go Mets.